So this past week, we've seen that Jorge Masvidal has been arrested for an aggravated battery charge for assaulting Colby Covington outside of a Miami restaurant. And so I've seen recently that some fighters and fans are justifying Jorge Masvidal's actions, because of some of the things that Colby said supposedly about his kids. Well, Colby never said anything about Jorge's kids. He called Jorge a deadbeat dad. It's not the nicest thing to be called, but he didn't say anything about his kids. And then, now Jorge, after being ragdolled for 25 minutes, he had his chance in the octagon, to get his retribution, but he just didn't do it, unfortunately for him. He got beaten convincingly in the octagon, and outside of a flash knockdown, which Colby recovered pretty quickly from, it was a pretty one-sided fight. And so now that you're seeing Jorge doing this 3 weeks after the fight, it really just looks like a guy who can't take a loss and that he's just thrown 2 punches at him. And I don't understand how anyone can be justifying this sort of behavior. We know of the dangers that coward punching has. It can kill people. It's not the punch that you see that causes the most damage. It's the one that you don't see. And if you're not expecting any form of punch, which Colby wasn't in this situation, it can cause significant damage. I saw DC was saying that Colby's not prepared for street things. No one's prepared for a blindside hit. There's no way that you can justify Jorge Masvidal's actions. And I'm hoping that that fighters, like DC and other ones are going to denounce this sort of behavior. It's a black eye for the sport, this sort of thing, this sort of behavior. MMA is growing exponentially at the moment, and as fans, we want to see that continue. It's instances like this of coward punching that are just going to set it back and, paints MMA in a bad light. So yeah, hopefully that changes. The other thing we've seen is that Khabib's came out with some tweets about Colby and the situation and saying that no one should be fighting Colby, that everyone should be boycotting fighting him. Now, first of all, it might not be Khabib tweeting these. He had some hashtags, which typically isn't him. And it's, so it could be Ali. Ali takes over most of his fighters' Twitters. And so, yeah, I think that's quite a dangerous thing to be saying, that, Colby said these things about his kids. We shouldn't be fighting Colby. I think, people are then going to get the wrong idea of what Colby did say. Don't get me wrong. Colby said some things that are way over the top. I think some of the things he's been saying about Dustin's wife and kid are way over the top. And I hope that changes. But yeah, I think in this instance, I don't think what Colby said, is being painted correctly by many people. And I find it a bit weird that people who have fought Conor McGregor, so, Khabib and Dustin, are taking the moral high ground against Colby Covington. They're saying when people shouldn't be fighting him, or I'm not going to fight him because, some of the things he said, he's not going to profit off me. You fought Conor McGregor, who said some horrible things about many different people. So I find that a bit odd. I just think it's a bit hypocritical to be doing that. But that's their choice, and they're entitled to it. But yeah, I'm hoping that this all gets resolved, with Colby and Masvidal. But yeah, I don't think anyone should be having a crack at Colby Covington for pressing charges. As I've said, he was blindside hit. He suffered an injury. I think he's got a fractured tooth and abrasions to his wrist, and he's, has significant damage to his Rolex, which I think cost $90,000. So yeah, he has every right to press charges, and that shouldn't be frowned upon. But yeah, hopefully this situation gets resolved and we can see Colby back in the octagon, and hopefully Masvidal too.